Hello StarCraft fans, we're back with another replay for the Novice Tournament. This time it's a round 3 game. In the bottom right corner, spawning with the orange Protoss probes, is RedDragon. And in the top left, his opponent, spawning with the blue Protoss probes, is Darkseid. Or Darkseid. Let's get the names up there, get a production tab going. Both players look to be going pylon first, if this probe will place the pylon. There it is. Pretty standard opening there. So we know Darkseid has gone for a cannon rush and a DT rush. So I'm expecting a bit of cheese from this game. Let's see what he's got in store for us. I have a feeling this is actually just going to be a gateway. PvP, so we don't need to be worried about blocking off the ramp. RedDragon is going to go for this block here. That's absolutely fine. Just a bit of safety, because if your opponent does send a scouting worker across the map, the wall up here will block them getting in, unless... Well, there's a very early probe scout from Darkseid there, having a look at what his opponent's getting up. He's going to know about the pylon, he's going to know about this gateway. He is also going to know about this gas. If we take a look at his vision there, he knows that this gas has come down relatively standard. He, meanwhile, has opted not to go for a gas, and is just building probes at the minute. And there's the gas coming down a bit later. Does he know about the second gateway? He does, so he knows there's a second gateway. He's blocking the expand here with a pylon. Might be annoying for RedDragon if he goes for it. Doesn't look like he's planning to expand anytime soon. He's got a side core coming down now. And he does see that that pylon was indeed cancelled. Darkseid following up with a very similar side core. He is one gateway behind. But I think this is going to reflect... Oh, no, he's not. RedDragon going double gas here. I was going to say RedDragon might be behind in the probe count, but he's not. He is actually ahead in probe count right now, considering he's got both those gases saturated. Darkseid does have his Zealot out. It isn't at the front door. He is expanding now. Okay, so he's going to go for an early expand compared to his opponent. His opponent is going for these Adepts. Adepts are a great unit for harassing worker lines. They've got this ability to shade away, which means they can run really quickly across the map, shade into the opponent's mineral line, do some damage for a bit, and then shade back out as if they were never there. So here they come. I'm expecting these guys to do quite a bit of damage as they get across the map, because Darkseid's defenses at home are non-existent. I can't see anything here that's going to defend against these two Adepts. One Zealot is just not going to cut them in half quick enough, and they're definitely going to get some damage done unless Darkseid starts pumping out some units. RedDragon at home is teching up. He's not committing a whole lot to this Adept rush, really. He's committing 2, and he's going into a Stargate and a Forge. So he's teching up nicely. This is just to get some worker harass, put his opponent behind economically so that he can get ahead and tech up to some more beefy units. Darkseid is sending this probe across the map, and he is going to see that his opponent has no expand, and he should by now know that these Adepts are here. And this is the shade ability I was talking about. They're coming straight into the main here. These guys are going to do some damage. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. They can one-shot these. There's 2 Adepts here, so they can just completely one-shot workers. Don't even have to be micro too much. Oh, they even get a Zealot as well. That is some great value. Even if this one dies here, these Adepts have had so much value out of them already. RedDragon can just send these guys home, but I think he's going to go for even more harass in this natural. No, he's going to send it home. He's going to keep this Adept alive for the time being. Darkseid still knows that his opponent hasn't expanded, and this is bad for RedDragon. That Adept harass is great and puts him ahead economically if he expands. He hasn't expanded, so he's still going to be behind economically. If we look at the units tab, Darkseid has 21 probes, RedDragon has 22. So actually the economic advantage you're looking for with the Adepts hasn't really done a lot. You've just killed a load of workers and your opponent's built more to replace them. Darkseid now just continuing the probe production, teching up to a Stargate quite nicely. He's got this robotics facility as well. It's rallied across the map here. Anything coming out? An observer. So he's going to know exactly what his opponent's doing, exactly what's going on. Phoenix now for RedDragon coming across the map. This one's going to be rallied all the way over here, probably to the main aspect. Oh, I say that and it's just been microed away somewhere else. But it does look like it is coming towards the main. And it is going to see every single bit of tech that Darkseid has. Darkseid still has really no defense. He's got nothing actually to defend against this Phoenix if it wants to come in and do some harassment. But for now it's just going to sit at the corner of the map here. Another one on its way as well there. RedDragon has now expanded and he's popping down some shield batteries. These shield batteries are really cool because these will keep probes alive for a very, very long time against sort of Zealot harass. The Zealots won't be able to one-shot them. They'll take up to 3 shots to kill a probe with a shield battery recharging its shields, and just can give you a bit more of a reaction time, which is great in this Novice League where sometimes you don't see the things on the minimap that you're supposed to. +1 weapons also coming out for RedDragon now, so I don't think this Phoenix is going to be a huge commitment, just 3 of them coming out, mostly a couple of Stalkers as well. Some nice varied tech coming out here. He does see there with that cannon finishing up that Azurba, and Darkseid now has no vision of his opponent's base. Just as RedDragon's second base is finishing up, Darkseid has already started his third. I put him ahead economically. Army tab wise, I mean, let's look at this. 2 Adepts, 1 Immortal, 2 Stalkers against 4 Stalkers and 4 Phoenixes. The 4 Phoenixes and 4 Stalkers win that fight in a straight up match, but the Stalkers and Phoenixes for RedDragon are split up. These 4 are sat at home. These 4 are about to come and do some damage into the main mineral line, and this is exactly what you want to do with them. Just fly them in, pick 1 up, pick 2 up, shoot them down. Come on, shoot them down. Maybe not being done perfectly here, but the idea is there. There we go, that's better. Bit of micro going on now. And that mineral line has been absolutely decimated. 4 probes have survived out of, I think, what, 12 or 13 that were there. You don't want to lose these Phoenixes though, they're great units. You don't want to just throw them away to a couple of Stalkers. Coming back into the natural 9 now. This is really cheeky with the Stalkers chasing them down. But there are 4 of them, and if the Stalkers aren't microed enough, they will not target the weakened ones. They would just target the closest one to them. RedDragon does know about his opponent's third base now. He's just flown over there with the Phoenixes, so I expect he'll leave them parked here for a minute or so, maybe come back and do some harassment later when that base gets saturated. Darkseid in the production has his first carrier finished up now, so we are going to probably see a push from him in about 2 or 3 minutes. Sadly, this Immortal is completely stuck between the pylon gateway side core. Could have been a very powerful unit if he managed to get that rallied correctly on this side of it. RedDragon is sending his Phoenixes home actually. He's not parked them where I thought he would park them. And he's just sort of probing up, I suppose you'd say. Yeah, he's got 2 probes on the production tab. Both Nexuses working to get this mineral line saturated. I actually put Darkseid ahead in this situation. Although RedDragon has more army units, Darkseid has the same, if not, well, more probes now than RedDragon. And his main base is kind of saturated, but it's had some harassment. His natural is nearly saturated. That's also had some harassment. But if we look at the minerals and gas, Darkseid keeping his spending low. He's got more supply. RedDragon is running out of minerals at a furious rate because he's building all of these army units and he's not putting enough into probes. Does have some nice varied tech choices here, all of these buildings. All sat idle though because he just doesn't have the minerals to support a big army. Here's this third base beginning to get saturation now. I'm not too sure about the decision to plonk down the gases here, considering you don't have enough workers in your main, you don't have enough workers in your natural. Maybe make sure you've got these fully saturated, get maybe 8 or so workers in these, and then plonk down a couple of gas. Because, I mean, you're not hurting for gas at the minute, you're not building anything really, well, I say gas heavy, you're building 2 carriers at a time, so why the hell not, so long as you're popping the probes in the gas as soon as these finish up, which you're not. Nice handful of Stalkers, nice handful of Zealots just parked out the front here to see anything like the Adept harass that we saw in the early game just away. Keep the Phoenixes away if they decide to come through the front door as well. Even more carriers on the production tab now. How many are we at now? 14 interceptors, 2 carriers, okay. You might push at 4 carriers with a handful of these units. The Phoenixes, sorry I'm not looking at the minimap. Phoenixes have walked into this third base and have absolutely decimated all of the probes here. He is going to lose this Phoenix there to all that handful of Stalkers. Not really what you want, but he's coming back round here into the natural, so long as he gets a couple here, that'll be alright. Not quite microing these Phoenixes correctly. Oh, you don't want that to happen. The Interceptor's chasing these Phoenixes down. 2 of them go down. Obliterating the Phoenixes there. Darkseid has teched up to quite a powerful army. He's held off all of the early game harass. Hasn't taken that much economic damage. RedDragon hasn't expanded quick enough to make use of the economic damage he did in the early game, and he's only just got his third base down, while Darkseid already has it partially saturated along with the main and natural. I want to see the upgrades tab here, because Darkseid has gone for pretty much straight to air for the Protoss, really. He's got the carrier upgrade, he's got +1 weapons, I believe that is, and he's also got the +1 armor coming down now. Can we have a peek at the army supply somehow? There we go. So the army supply heavily in favour of Darkseid here, almost a 3-to-1 ratio. Worker supply pretty even, and considering the early economic damage, Darkseid has absolutely produced probes out of nothingness, really. I mean, that's really quite impressive to have the same amount of workers as your opponent at this stage of the game, considering he took all our early game harass. Is really good play. RedDragon oversaturated in his main, not saturated in his natural, nearly saturated in his third. Just needs to make sure that his macro is on point when he's got that early game harass, because it could have been so devastating to lose all of those probes in the early game is a real setback, and if he just capitalised, macroed up a second natural, gone for some more harass, I reckon he could have won this. But at the time we're looking at, what, 5 carriers, 8 Stalkers, 4 Zealots, another carrier now, 6 carriers. I think Darkseid is going to be making a move soon, judging by the timer on this replay. And if he comes down here to the third, there is absolutely nothing defending it. These Stalkers are going to take a couple of seconds to walk over, and by that time the carriers will have done their damage. Not a big fan of these Phoenixes just parked here. I kind of feel as though they've been sat here for a little while. Could have had another peek in at this third, because again, there's nothing really here. Darkseid has just parked his army, just like RedDragon has, outside the front of their naturals, not really knowing what their opponent's doing or what's going on. RedDragon knows that his opponent has carriers, so he should be scared right now. He also knows that his opponent's about to move out. Darkseid, on the other hand, knows not a lot about really what his opponent's got. He doesn't know about these Phoenixes up here. He doesn't know that the army's stationed here, so he's probably going to go towards this area, meet the army, and actually at this point it won't really matter since it's 7 carriers to 13 Stalkers. RedDragon is sending some Zealots across the side here, probably looking for some harassment on a non-existent 4th base that he's expecting his opponent to have. Darkseid's army is making across. RedDragon knows nothing about this at all, and it's going to hit him quite hard. He does not have enough at home to defend this at all. He needs to be pulling the Phoenixes back, pulling the Zealots back, or alternatively trying to tempt his opponent home by completely destroying this third expand. And that has provoked a reaction from Darkseid here. He is moving into the second base here of his opponent. The Interceptors swarming around the Stalkers. The Stalkers not microed to kill the carriers. A Tempest even out now that is about to get stormed and absolutely decimated by the carriers here. There is nothing RedDragon can do at this point. There are simply too much Interceptors flying about the air. Carriers even on a move command right now into the natural. And that's just to rub salt on the wound, really. And there's the GG from RedDragon. Remember, guys, it's never GG until your opponent's left. And he has now left. Darkseid just absolutely destroying his opponent's base there. Good first game. GG.